As we speak this morning, Harry Kane is back in training for Spurs after spending the week in isolation following his late return from the Bahamas. So, if Martin, he delivers a negative result now that he's back, and he can be in amongst the fray this weekend, all the talk is that following talks this week between Manchester City and Spurs, City are now preparing a £120 million bid for Kane next week. But if the test isn't positive and Harry can play, would you expect him to pull on a Spurs shirt this weekend and play against City?
I don't expect him to play, and I expect the deal to go through next week. You simply couldn't have allowed that deal to go through and him play then against his old team. That just wouldn't have worked. It looks like now with this financial fair play situation, it's a summer where the wealthy clubs can just go and take who they want. So £1,025,000 is not out of the question for them to go and do that as a one-off. They've done it already with Grealish. I expect that to happen next week. I'm not in this camp of, if you think of the player, everyone moaning about him taking a holiday. We're just about 4 weeks from the 11th of July when we played in the Euros final. I find it hard to think that he's going to have lost much fitness. Everybody needs to have a holiday. He's been back a week already. He's not even had, it's 2.5 weeks he was away. So there's no issue there for me in terms of, I don't believe that he's being disrespectful. He wanted a holiday. He probably planned that holiday on the back of what was happening for his new club at Man City. Probably already had discussions. Go and have your holiday, relax, and then come back. If they want to use him, it's their prerogative to use him. I don't see that happening. I don't think they want to miss out on the 125 million they're now about to get.
Oh, for sure. As he had a decent enough break.
Well, is it long enough? 3-4 weeks? It's not really. They're not going to lose their fitness. That the idea that players now, they don't really get long enough. Within a couple of weeks, you're training anyway. He'd been running on the beach. He's come back. He's done a week's training. He just needs to integrate with the rest of the players. And if Levy wants to keep him, then you could see that happening also. But I think now's the time for him to leave Tottenham.
You think he should start on Sunday, Simon, if he's still a Tottenham player?
Well, that depends upon the manager's perspective and depends upon the mentality of the player. He's a professional footballer that should be available for selection, and if he's asked to play. And there's a variety of components to this. Martin's right. If Levy now is in the mindset that they're close to the numbers that he wants to get, because it was always going to happen if they give Daniel what he wants. There was no doubt about that because, there is a price for everything, as has been proven, repeatedly and endlessly, whether it's Coutinho or it's Neymar or whoever else it is, there's a price, right?
Yeah.
And the price that Daniel would get is the price that he would ask for. And when someone offers it, he'll ask for 10% more. That's how he operates. That's how business people operate. They want more because if you push the envelope, you've got the supply and someone else has the demand, you maximise it, right?
Martin's saying that maybe his break hasn't been long enough.
Well, look, Martin and I probably will never see eye to eye on that perspective because he's had 4.5 weeks off. He's a professional footballer. You're a long time retired. At this stage in their careers, they have, and at this evolution in the way that players are cared for, looked after, nutrition, support, psychological and physical, get your boots on and play. You're getting paid a lot of money. It's the byproduct of the industry that you're in.
Is it as simple as that, man?
No, it's not. We've been in the back down of this lockdown. We've come out of that. He wants to take a holiday. I don't think we should deny people holiday. We don't know the mental pressures that people are under. He's locked away with the England team for, say, 6 weeks. It went incredibly well. And then he comes back and he's told, look, they've offered 100 million. That was the clause. That was what they wanted.
Has he planned a pressure, though, Martin, because he didn't have to do silly interviews. He may want what he wants, right? And we all want what we want in life. Sometimes you've got to toe the line and respect the parameters of the deals that you've done as a big boy. So he didn't have to create the meltdown, the egg timer mentality of suggesting that people were going to put him under psychological pressure because the move that he may want. He did all that.
He did that as a last resort.
No, he didn't.
He's been trying to get away from Tottenham now for a number of years.
He shouldn't sign a 6-year contract then, should he?
Well, the thing is, they keep bringing him that deal. They keep I'm sure behind the scenes, a promise of, look, if it doesn't work out, of course, we'll go separate ways.
Put a release clause in them.
Yeah, but what he's done is he's put the club under pressure because he wants now, he's going all in. I want to get out. He's made it very public.
Well, he hasn't, has he? Because he's sat there using other people to do it for him. He's sat there talking in riddles, riddle me this, riddle me that. He's talked to between the lines. It's really simple. Walk through the door and say, here's a transfer request. It's really simple. I want to leave. And now what we've got is this ambiguity about, has Harry Kane really thrown it in? Has he really said to Daniel Levy, gentlemen's agreements, cobblers, put an agreement clause in your contract, which when you signed a contract 2 years ago, which has a release clause attached to it. Jack Grealish has got one. Harry Kane's a big boy. He was the biggest asset Tottenham would have had at that particular time. It's really easy when he's being given a new contract. You've got to put a £130 million release clause in my contract, and we wouldn't be having this discussion today, would we?
No, but when they've never tasted real success as players at that football club, and I think he should go with the blessing of all the fans and the players. When you look at 166 goals in 245 games, this fella's, he has been absolutely brilliant. And if he was asked to play again, I'm pretty certain he's going to be professional and get on with it because he doesn't want to affect his percentage of goals.
Yep.
So I think sometimes for Daniel Levy, the inevitable is there. The players now would have accepted it within the dressing room. Allow him to move on and then build with the money that you bring in.
At the absolute right price for Tottenham Hotspur.
Which is close.
If someone is suggesting to you that their motivation is to go and do what they want to do, it's Daniel Levy's absolute responsibility and fundamental fiduciary duty to sit there and go, I got to wring every single last penny out of this for the benefit of Tottenham Hotspur. No longer interested in you, Harry Kane. You are a commodity that we've paid, rewarded and recognised and given you contracts on, and you've done your job. Right? No one was employed to do a bad job. He was employed to do a good job, and he's been rewarded and recognised for it. He now wants to break his contract halfway through, which is his prerogative. So Tottenham's prerogative is to go, right, you over there, Man City, Jack Dash with a big bag of cash. If you want to buy this player, you've now got to pay what we want you to pay. And Harry, park it in the meantime.
And then Tottenham benefit to the tune of 125 million.
Yeah.
And look at the service that the players
and everyone's
given.
waiting for that money to be spent somewhere else.
And on the way out, you might say you weren't happy with the way that he did it, but I don't think we should ridicule him for taking an extra 5 days off holiday with his family when you consider what he has achieved at that football club.
But Martin, again, the point, he's not employed to do a bad job, and what he's achieved at that football club is to lose finals and to not win leagues when opportunities are there available, and to lose semi-finals, and he's been part of that particular side. So you can say that the rest of the side might not have been good enough, but he created the culture of wanting to leave this football club, and ultimately, you know, the 5-day mentality, I understand it, right? But if he had kept his trap shut before the European Championships and had his conversations internally, and the world turns within the confines of football, it doesn't need to be flagged in front of the media for the benefit of the media's delectation. And then he came back, because the reasons why the media is now fascinated with his timing of coming back is because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good to be away when the rest of the squad is back. Paul Robertson did an article in the press, who you will know, and is a former England goalkeeper, talking about his conduct and talking about the reality of him not being able to be reintegrated back in the dressing room, because the players will be going, hang on a second, we've all had to come back. We've all played in European Championships. We've all played in Copa de Americas.
Yeah, but I think the player would have felt that he was already working to the timetable of his new club. And you don't know what happens behind the scenes.
For him.
Yeah, so that's what he was looking at. And okay, maybe Guardiola had said, no, go and take a rest like Sterling has, who hasn't yet.
But it doesn't
really
work for Guardiola. So Guardiola can
but it was in the midst. It was in the midst of happening. But it
creates pressure, Martin. So you can't complain about creating pressure by awareness, and then compound it by not coming back and then making it.
I don't think he is complaining. I think he just wants to use that as a pawn to get out of the football club.
But Martin, there's been deliberate ambiguity on the part of Kane and his people, and if they'd been much handled. More, it needed much more decisive words used. The statement the other night was just ridiculous, really, when you look back in it.
Well, look. It looks as if now Levy is going to get what he wants, which is 125 million. And then City get what they want, which is an outstanding player who hopefully continues to develop.
I think he wanted a bit more than 125, Martin, actually. I think he wanted 150, and he might take it down to 130 as well.
The next few days are crucial in terms of where Harry Kane is going to play, whether it's going to be Tottenham, whether it's going to be Manchester City.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.